Titans! Bitcoin is still this crabbing along, but is there hope for a potential turnaround anytime soon? Let's see what the charts say and why tomorrow is a very important day for two reasons. Kevart, hit that intro. Let's kick it off with a reminder that the Hong Kong Bitcoin Spot ETFs debut tomorrow. And as mentioned in one of our previous videos, these ETFs could unlock up to $25 billion in demand. Alright, now let's hit the charts. Looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin has been hitting this white resistance trend line here since early April. And we can also see a falling wedge pattern forming here in yellow. Now these falling wedge patterns are bullish patterns and typically have a higher probability to break out to the upside, but lately these patterns on the smaller time frames haven't been overly successful. But if it does break out to the upside, then maybe that will be the catalyst for breaking out against this larger white resistance trend line as well. Looking at Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame, we can see that we are in an even larger falling wedge pattern here, which is again a bullish pattern. And if the structure of this pattern doesn't change, just note that we could potentially see Bitcoin come down to the upper 50K region, even if it's just a quick wick down. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, the price is still consolidating within a rectangle that ranges from about 60.8K to 73.8K for about 60 days now. And as we mentioned last week, it's really anyone's guess as to how much longer we could consolidate based on what we've seen so far in this cycle, with previous consolidation periods being about as short as 67 days or as long as 218 days. But just keep in mind, it's actually a healthy thing to see this staircase pattern where price consolidates, then it rises, and then you rinse and repeat, as opposed to just upwards only, because in the end you'll end up crashing hard if you don't have these breaks built in. Zooming out to the 3-day time frame for Bitcoin, we began discussing this last week, but again, the Bollinger Bands are getting pretty tight around the current price action here. And we're slowly inching our way down to this green line on the Bollinger Band width indicator below here. Now, because it's the 3-day time frame, it could take several more candles to form here before we actually tap this green line. But when we do, it's always led to big moves in the past, as you can see over here and over here. But of course, it could always lead to a breakdown instead. Zooming out to the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, unfortunately, last week's candle marked by this yellow arrow here closed below the 8 EMA or exponential moving average, which is this purple line that we've been finding long-term support on since the end of last September. And the current weekly candle is below the 8 EMA as well. Now for the short term, this does not look good, but it may potentially be short-lived because the stochastic RSI is nearly bottomed out here, meaning that we are approaching oversold territory. So whenever the stochastic RSI reverses back towards the upside, which will happen when the blue line crosses back over the orange line, we should expect to see the Bitcoin price trend upwards again. And maybe that could be the catalyst for getting the weekly candles back on top of the 8 EMA once again. And finally, zooming way out to the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, I think this chart really gives me the most confidence that everything is looking really healthy for Bitcoin. So when you look back at the last bull cycle, notice how the price came up to this region where the green bar is and it got rejected twice, meaning that it was providing strong resistance back then. And as we came out of the bear market and back in the bull mode, we came up to this green bar once again, broke through it, and successfully retested it afterwards. Now, as long as everything remains about the same here between today and tomorrow, this will remain as a healthy retest when the monthly candle closes tomorrow. Titans, we are your one-stop source for guiding you through this Bitcoin bull run. Please join us as we continue to provide the latest market and technical analysis that are going to give you that edge.